Hello, I'm Jere Ratcliffe, Chief Scout Executive of the Boy Scouts of America. For over 60 years, the Roman Catholic Church and the Boy Scouts have worked together to help develop young people. Now, more than ever, the program of scouting is a relevant tool for building Christian values in a new generation. Scouting provides challenges in outdoor living and social skills. But more than that, it provides a unique setting for good Catholic men and women to model their faith in ministry to youth. After viewing this, I hope you will decide to make use of the scouting program to accomplish your parish objectives.
I firmly believe that there's not such a thing as a bad kid, but I believe that children will go bad if they don't have good opportunities.
This is basically a good neighborhood, but still there is a lot of drugs. There's a lot of criminal element.
They live in a tough world, and I think it's such a wonderful thing to give them an opportunity to see something else, to work with acknowledged leaders, as our scout leaders are, to see how a leader works in a positive fashion, rather than to see the leaders on the streets who so often are trying to drive them into some kind of sinful, dangerous, criminal behavior.
Actually, going back to the very earliest days of the scouting movement, the Catholic Church has been involved. For instance, a lot of people do not know or appreciate the fact that Baden-Powell, the founder of scouting in England, consulted with some Benedictine monks about the structure of the scouting movement.
The Scout program really invites young people to see what their gifts are, to see what their talents are, and then provides an opportunity to use them.
The Catholic Church is into what is called total youth ministry, and that's a term that's been bandied about for the last 15, 20 years, which means offering as many things as possible so that we'll impact as many youth as possible. And in total youth ministry, one of the highlights is scouting, because of its proven track record, because of its effectiveness in training leaders, in instilling moral values, and also in the tremendous fun that young people can have with scouting. Scouting is youth ministry at its very best.
Scouting, in my judgment, would certainly qualify as a ministry. Basically, it's an outreach to youth, an outreach to young people. And it's an outreach that I think provides a wonderful framework for them in terms of their involvement in the life and the ministry of the church, but also in terms of their involvement as citizens in our society today. So I see a real connection between what we would call ministry and the work or the movement that we call scouting. The two, I think, go very well in hand together.
Scouting helps the church's youth ministry by bringing in the youth to the parish.
Cub Scouting, I think, is great in the church because it services kids from grades 1 through 5. And a lot of the churches don't have, aside from CCD, other programs that can reach kids that young.
The troop and the pack are both active with the parish life. The children do cleanups. They're a visible force around the parish. We do this on purpose so that the people in the parish don't think of scouting as just those little kids who make crafty things and go camping.
What I think a scout troop helps the young person to hear and to practice what the church teaches. Through a good scout leader and through participation of the parish in the scout troop, the knowledge of what the church teaches can be communicated to the youngsters.
The beautiful aspect of scouting, unlike academics or athletics, is that in scouting, a young person can always succeed at something.
May all the Scoutmasters of all the great scouts watch over us until we meet again.
I believe in the contents of the program of scouting, and I think it's a very healthy program for children and, of course, for young men, because it's something that really helps them to develop their own character, but it also helps them to develop relationships with others.
There are a lot of single parents out there these days, and some of them may turn to the church for help, others may not. And Scouting provides those children with opportunities that might not otherwise be available to them.
Whether you're in a parish or a school or a Knights of Columbus Council or Holy Name Society, you, if you're a sponsoring organization, have a lot to say about the selection and the training of your leaders. If they are members of your various organizations, and they're the kind of people that are representing the parish, the school, the Knights, whatever, then you are pretty certain that those are the kind of adult role models you want your kids to look up to and to be associated with.
The Boy Scouts of America program is a structured program, but it's also loose enough to enable a family to develop, a boy to act as an individual while being part of the group, and to flower and grow.
I also see the possibilities of having a troop in a Catholic school, because a Catholic school is one very much committed to the same values as the parishes of developing the whole child. And Scouting is a program which has been proven, it's tested, it's cost-effective to deal with the whole child.
It's definitely a highly educational program that not only teaches them what's out there, but also helps them to discover what's in them, the value that is in them. And I think today, maybe more than in my lifespan, that it's very important for young men and women to discover the greatness of who they are.
I find there's a very distinct connection between the Catholic schools, my values, and Scouting.
Most young people are very generous and they want to reach out to others, but they need some guidance, they need some help. They need, I think, to root their lives in what I would call authentic moral values, and we have to help them do that.
If we recall the Beatitudes, where we are called upon to give of ourselves to others, by our example, the boys that come to us for leadership and to be taught see us in a nonverbal fashion, performing works of mercy, performing good deeds, so to speak.
We have a program called Scouting for Food. The boys go out and collect canned goods, non-perishable items. These are sorted out and packaged up and delivered to various food organizations.
Along with doing the service projects and a good deed, we also make sure that we stress when we look at the Scout Oath and Law, the 2 points, our duty to God and a Scout is reverent. And we build that into the program.
We have a Scout Mass that we instituted in this parish and has spread to some others, where the boys are all supposed to be at a specific Mass in uniform, first Sunday of the month, and this says to the parish, they also show reverence to God.
In Cub Scouting, you have the Parvuli Dei Award, and in Boy Scouting, we have the Ad Altare Dei Award.
It broke down the Scout Oath and the Scout Law in relation to like the 10 Commandments and the Beatitudes and rules that the Bible teaches us to live by. And I thought that was very interesting, and how both the Scouting and the Bible went together, and it seemed like it was almost written that way.
You certainly help the young people, but you also have to be involved in developing the leadership for the future. And that's the key to success for Scouting, because we're always sending out a new generation to become leaders, and then to raise up new leaders to follow them. It's a kind of program that really challenges you to give, and then to help other people get the tools that they can give as well.
One of the main reasons that I'm a priest today is because of the Boy Scouts of America, because of some of the experiences I had there, because of some of the priest chaplains that I met in the program. So it's a great vocational tool as well, in the most natural of ways, young people developing.
We should encourage everybody to take advantage of Scouting, because it has the tools to empower young men and women to be successful with themselves.
Well, if I were pastor and wanted to start a troop, I'd call my people together and say, look, here's a great program, been tested for many years, developed as each new generation needed development. Here's something that works.
One of the greatest feelings that a leader can have, regardless of how long they're involved in the program or at what level in the program they're involved, it's to have found a boy somewhere during their development from 11 to 18 who had a problem, who needed a shoulder, who needed a little extra help. And that leader gave that little bit extra of themselves to get that boy through. And somewhere down the line, you run into that same boy, and there he is in a business suit, very successful, and he walks up and he shakes your hand and says, "Thank you. Thank you for giving me what no one else was willing to give me." And that really puts the scouting program right where it's at.
And sometimes we're tempted to reinvent the wheel, as it were. I think it's very important that we look at the assets that we have to see how they might best be used. And I think scouting is one of those assets. And on the basis of many conversations that I've had with the adults who have been in the scouting movement, I think that they see themselves as real ministers, in the sense that they are helping young people to develop a life that's in accord with gospel values. The scouting, the work of scouting, what's done for Scouts is very much related to the church and what the church is trying to do, not only for young people, but for adults as well. So I see that there's a real correlation between the two.
I would certainly encourage my pastors, any pastors that would want to take my advice, to get interested in scouting, not be concerned about, well, where can I find a leader? There will be leaders in the parish. Where can I find the money? It's not all that expensive. Where can I find the place? Places can be found as long as we really want to find a place. And it isn't all on the shoulders of the priest or the pastor. It should be on the shoulders of the parish. It should be, the scout troop should be a parish project, something that everybody in the parish feels is important.
So I would simply say, try it, you'll like it, and you'll never regret it.
Scouting stands ready to become a part of your parish ministry to youth. Along with our time-tested program, we can offer adult training, support services, and facilities for constructive, family-oriented activities that enrich parish life. Please ask your local Boy Scout executive to assist you in organizing the right scouting program for your youth.